Identity theft.
Huh?
Nope. Nope. That's the other video that I have to record after this one that will be posted on a completely different site. That was a joke, by the way. That was a big joke. That was a cheeky joke, actually, because that was borderline incriminating. So maybe I don't want to make incriminating jokes. If I could forge a whole new identity, I would give myself dreadlocks and a big dick. Whatever your identity looks like right now is directly linked to your level of success, rate of productivity, and overall progress. People expect to get onto self-improvement and just slowly start morphing into a successful man without having made any huge changes to their identity, being completely unaware that this unchanged identity is still tethered to that unsuccessful, procrastinatory little boy who was addicted to porn for 6 years prior. Let me introduce you to identity forging. You take your current identity and you analyze it so that it's clear to you. You highlight every feature from your physical appearance to your mentality, and you begin to change each of these aspects one by one, stripping away the identity that is associated with the weak you and forging the identity that will hold the strong you. I've split every aspect into 3 main categories, each containing 2 subcategories for long and short-term changes. Anything that is a short-term change will be changed within the week, so within the next 7 days, and anything that isn't, you'll set a long-term plan for. The more extreme you take this, the newer of a person you'll become. So sit back, don't scroll down and just start looking at all of the pre-thumbnails or reading the description or whatever. Just hold as much eye contact with me. Not in a weird way though. Stop doing that. Stop looking at me like that and absorb the information as it comes. Over the course of the next 7 days, you will be gradually forging your new identity. Starting with the short-term changes of your physical traits, this is one of the more easy aspects of your identity that you can change even right now. When you enroll into the military, one of the first things they do is have you buzz your hair. This ritual takes place in order to separate you from your civilian life, to make you look the same as your peers and create an entire new identity. Whoever you were before you enrolled, however hard or unfortunate your life was, all of that is forgotten. Whatever addictions, habits, and copes you had in your life, all of that is forgotten, and you're now, for a certain amount of time at least, a completely different person. I'm not saying you have to buzz your hair, but what I am saying is whoever you see when you look in the mirror in the morning is directly associated with however you've acted for the past period or many periods of your life. If you're watching this video, you likely don't like how you currently are or how you've acted for the past periods of your life, or maybe you do, but you just kind of want to level up further. Your hair and your facial hair are probably the biggest part of your physical appearance, but they're also the easiest to change. Find yourself a different haircut, and like I said in the intro, the further you take this, the more results you'll get. So consider buzzing there. A lot of men these days have incredibly dry style. I spoke about your style being a big part of how you get girls to notice you in public in one of my other videos. Very good video, by the way. It wouldn't be just up there, but it's also an aspect of your identity. This is another relatively easy one to upgrade, regarded you have the money. If you don't have the funds to upgrade your style now, get that money up and take this one as a long-term change as opposed to a short-term. But this is what you can do right now, regardless of if you make any purchases. You want to start by choosing a style. You could do this by using something like Pinterest. Just go on and kind of look at some different clothing styles and then choose 1 or 2 that you like best. With me, for example, I'm alright with the generic sort of streetwear look sometimes, and then other times I'll prefer to dress more classy and smart. When you found your style, take a look at some different websites and just find a few basic pieces. Basic rule of thumb is that almost all neutral colors on screen will match, which makes dressing classy a lot more easy. With something like streetwear or Y2K, more vibrant colors work and you can get a bit more creative with it. Some lower budget websites for classy dressing would be places like Zara, ASOS, or maybe H&M. For more street/Y2K, you've got anything like Boohooman, Bershka, or Urban Outfitters. I will just say that I personally think that the way that you dress is the biggest part about your presentation, and so if you want to appear as a manly, sort of mature man, definitely go for the more classy style. The classier women in this world prefer a man who also dresses classy as opposed to vibrant and colourful, as much as that Y2K style is very fun to dress in. But I also personally think that the street/Y2K kind of look is more of a teenage boy kind of style, so I have plans to sort of prioritize neater clothing in future. If you have the money, I consider getting them as soon as possible to ensure that you really don't skip this step. How active are you? Have you been the kind of man who prioritizes keeping active? This changes today. I won't run through why keeping active is good. You're not that special. Or maybe you are, actually. I shouldn't judge. You should be exercising at least 4 days a week with some sort of movement every single day. If you have no interest in building your physique, you should go for daily runs or walks. Something that would be even better than this is playing a sport. If you're currently in school, this would be very easy to do, but if not, there are still MMA and football clubs that you can join. If you are interested in not being able to fit through door frames, definitely make sure you're hitting the gym around 4 to 6 times a week. Moving on to the long-term changes, your activity is basically the short-term first step to achieving a nice physique. So following on from if you aren't interested in getting big, regular exercise or pursuing a sport will help towards a more lean, muscular physique, because if you don't want to get like big, you should at least have some sort of muscle and have that body fat percentage low. If you want this new identity to be huge, however, you want to be hitting the gym 4 to 6 times a week as your activity. Activity and actually working out are probably the easy steps to achieving your dream physique and getting physically fit. Diet and sleep are even more important. Make sure you have a physique based goal in mind, and then do the research relevant towards that sort of goal physique and just build a long-term sort of plan for your new identity. Start getting 7 to 10 hours of quality sleep at night is a must do. However, diet will vary on the goal. Once again, if you want to be a more lean sort of muscular, focus on building a bit of muscle with maybe a 200-300 caloric surplus, and then when you've sort of built the adequate size that you want, start maintaining and keeping that body fat percentage low. If you want to be bigger, hit a bulk for the next year or so and do all the research necessary into meals and what you should and shouldn't eat, and also exercises in the gym. I'm personally going for the bigger look. I'm not a dietitian or PT, I'm just here to get your life into gear. So subscribe. Do your own research appropriate to your goal. Once again, in my Getting Acknowledged by Girls video, I speak about why clear skin is so primarily attractive to other humans. It's obviously very important when it comes to attractiveness. From my personal experience, I've found that in the past, my skin has gotten better when I've been in the stages of my life where I'm eating cleaner and I'm getting better sleep, as opposed to throwing a bunch of products on my face. However, now that I'm on a bulk and I'm sort of prioritizing muscle gain over skin health, it's not the greatest it's ever been. All I could do for this step is give you that personal notice and encourage you to go and do your own research. How healthy is the current identity of you? Of course, activity, physique, and skin play into this, but we've already covered those. Some other aspects of your physical health include hygiene, diet, sleep, and substance consumption. For your hygiene, if your current identity doesn't prioritize this, your new one does. Shower every day, take care of your teeth, make sure you smell nice. When it comes to using products, like shower gel, shampoo, whatever, a lot of people believe that they have a lot of estrogenics. Well, I say that a lot of people believe it's actually true. There's science to back it. I'm not an expert, so once again, do your own research. But what I will say to you is that there are natural products out there. For sleep, as I said, you want to start sleeping 7 to 10 hours a night. What can help the quality of those hours is not falling asleep with screens or lights. You can also help adjust your circadian rhythm by getting sunlight first thing in the morning and minimizing light exposure late at night. For diet, everybody's opinions differ, but what I can say for certain is processed foods are a no-go. If you take a look at the back of a box on an oven pizza or just some sort of food that you have regularly, and you can't confidently name every single ingredient and know what they all are, avoid it. If your mum only buys this sort of food, you can either have a talk with her and come to some sort of negotiation about her maybe buying different food. You can maybe even educate her and just say, listen, this is all cancer causing foods, this is awful. If not, if you really can't get through to her, get your money up and then you could just buy them yourself. Substance consumption. If you currently smoke weed, throw it all out. It might help you think better or whatever, but the negatives just outweigh the positives. The strongest and best kind of men in this world don't rely on plants to produce good work and don't rely on plants to stay stable. Only drink on special occasions. Any other instance would be a cope and you just voluntarily poisoning yourself. Any other drugs that you're using, it's down to you to look behind all of the copes that you'll be coming up with and conclude that you will throw them out and get the help that you need. Before we go any further into your mentality and lifestyle, I just want to spend around 15 seconds plugging the channel. My name is Ray and I've been uploading content every Monday, Wednesday and Friday at the exact same time. I'm very new to the platform and plan to persistently pump out content regardless of the numbers I see because I love it. Consider sticking around for a bit to see if you want to subscribe. Once again, starting with the short-term changes. If you don't have any goals already, the new you will. Spend some time over the next 7 days just setting some short and long-term goals for the new you to work towards. You can use whatever system that you personally prefer, whether it's something that you've read in a book or something that you've seen on a YouTube video. You want these goals to be authentic and true to you. We'll talk about purpose at the end, but don't set goals that you think will impress other men or people like your parents. Set goals that will forge you into the kind of man, husband, and even father that you want to be. For example, don't set a goal to make 10k a month in SMMA if you don't actually care about SMMA and you don't enjoy doing it at all. Don't set a goal to be big and jacked if that's not actually what you want to look like and that's just kind of what you're hearing in this sort of space. If it is what you want to look like, awesome, go for it. But if it's not, don't. Of course, there's a balance of setting goals for things that will make you happy and things that you genuinely just need to win as a man in this world, but you just have to find that balance yourself. I personally believe that the more you obsess over these goals, the more likely you are to achieve them. I've put this as a short-term change because although I think it either takes a long time to build a passion or just experiencing life and exploring to find one, you likely have already found many passions for many things, because I doubt that anyone who's 3 months old is watching this video, right? You've lived life, you've lived your childhood, you do have passions. So this subsection will be on the new identity of you, being the kind of man who pursues his passions in the form of purpose and hobbies. This creates an exciting life that people and women will admire and will also make you a lot happier. It's so easy to entertain the idea of just being a monk mole, just working on your business and gym gains for your entire life. But if you see my video on masculinity traits that women find cringe and repulsive, you'll know that this is one. Write a list of your authentic passions and start incorporating them into your life. Probably the quickest and easiest mental aspect to change, a little bit like the haircut. A good way to really set this new identity apart is by literally calling it something different. Your name is the title of your identity. This will only really work depending on what your name is. Am I saying go and legally change your name? Yes. No, I'm kidding. No, I'm not saying that. Instead, you can try and come up with a shortened version of your name. If your name is Joseph and everybody around you calls you Joseph, your family call you Joseph, and your friends call you Joseph, start going by Joe, or vice versa, of course. If your name is Bob, you're out of luck here, my friend. See how this one only really works for a few certain individuals? This is the only one, by the way, in this list. This is the only aspect in this entire guide that would only really work for a few people, especially if you don't want to go by some AKA name, like some street gangster. Bob can go by B2 Skizzy. B2 Skizzy, skizzing up the bando. I'm gonna stop it there. Time for the long-term changes. Remember, set plans for these ones. This is gonna be one of the hardest parts of forging a new identity. What addictions do the current you have? Are you addicted to porn, drugs, food? I couldn't possibly give you individual advice for how to quit each one because they would all require a long form guide like this, but just on the specific topic. So a long form guide on quitting porn or getting over a food addiction. But the best piece of advice that you will ever hear for any addiction is discipline. There are many little tricks that you can do to help you overcome your addiction, such as throwing all your junk food out and changing the store that you do your shopping at so you don't know the layout and go straight for the junk food or whatever, or putting a blocker on porn sites so that you can't access them. These tricks can be handy and will certainly help, but if you rely on just tricks, you're hopeless on your own. A big part to becoming a successful masculine man is to be disciplined enough to have control over the urges that you get. If you want to crush these addictions and keep them crushed, level up your willpower and discipline first. Be the kind of man who can have his favorite chocolate bar on his desk and just stare at it every single day and never eat it. Discipline will destroy these addictions. Just don't fuss about numbers or track any nofap streaks. This is also going to be a very hard aspect to level up. How confident are you currently? For majority of the men watching, the answer will be not very. I'm going to give you a very mini plan right now for leveling up your confidence over the next few months. The main step is going to be building up that discipline that we just previously spoke about, so that you can force yourself to speak to others in the gym and approach women on the street. The best level experience that you can get in confidence is by actively testing it, just like the way you get good at public speaking is by actively public speaking. The less important but still effective step in this plan is to do what we've previously spoke about and change your hair, get better clothes, build your physique, clear your skin, and keep yourself well groomed and clean. If you know that you look good, you'll find it so much easier using that willpower to engage in social situations. It's like being the biggest or tallest in the room, or being the person in a competition who's clearly the best. Your confidence is unbeatable. Much like in your physical aspects, your mentality also has a health bar too. I'll start by saying that your mental and physical health have so many links, and so improving one or the other will improve one or the other, or however you'd say that. Other aspects of mental health include authenticity, emotions, and stress. I've tried to be someone who I wasn't many times, and it sucks. A lot of young guys, especially in the niche of self-improvement, are constantly comparing themselves and setting goals specifically aligned with what they're told online. Now, I say specifically because obviously what you hear online from these, these really high value men and whatever, it's good advice, right? It's really good advice. But when you take every single bit of advice that they give you and you, sort of align your goals to them, it's kind of like you're trying to please daddy a little bit. It's kind of gay a little bit, actually. The amount of guys that I see posting videos on this platform where they have the exact same tone, style, and attitude as the leaders that they look up to. This, of course, could be fine if this is who you love to be, but of course, a lot of the time it isn't. It's incredibly damaging to the mental health, and so this new you will be authentic, pursuing a deep-rooted purpose and regularly chasing passions. I plan to make a full-length video about EQ in the future, but for now, it doesn't make you any more of a man to pretend that you don't feel. It also doesn't make you any more of a man to never let these emotions out. However, what does make an honorable man is an emotionally intelligent man. This new you will do some research into EQ and become emotionally intelligent. This is one that you don't have full control over. You'll always get stressed and sometimes be in situations where you can't actually control how stressed you get. What you can do, at least, is your best. Acknowledge how stressed you are and what are the causes, and then do your best to eliminate them. I wish I could give you some cool epic hack or trick to, reducing your stress, and I'm sure maybe there are actually a lot scientific tricks out there that you could use, but realistically it all just comes down to eliminating the causes. You know the drill. Short-term changes. Now, of course, your personality is something that you build over time, but we'll be talking about where you can change within the week. Are you the kind of person who is nice right now? Are you what some might call a nice guy? Or are you a knob? Of course, everyone will say that they're pure, but really take a step back here. Maybe even ask your family and friends to be 100% real with you. Regardless of what bullshit pill advice that you've heard, it's your personality that keeps the best women and the best friends. So don't be a nice guy, just be a nice guy. I suppose. Just be the kind of guy who's nice to be around and who makes others feel comfortable. Of course, you have to know when to be assertive, but the best kind of men go for the sort of gentle giant approach, where they're lovely and humble in person, but still everybody kind of knows that they're the alpha there, because they portray this lovely personality with a sense of assertiveness and confidence, and they're also likely huge as well, so that also kind of helps. Along with this, you want a bit of humor to you, so you want a bit of riz, a bit of charisma to you. You want people to chuckle when you say things. I mean, look at Pete Davidson. How's he done that? Funny. He's just funny. Humor is subjective and can't really be forced. The only advice that I'd give you on how to be more funny is to just be authentic and hang around with more funny people. This way, your personality will just kind of shift and just be influenced by whoever you're kind of around. You're only ever going to want to marry a woman whose humor is sort of on par with you anyway, and you only really kind of want to be friends with people who also have the same humor as you, otherwise it's just a bit awkward. If you're somebody who doesn't need to be in a period of monk mode right now, you want to start getting and incorporating hobbies into your day-to-day life, almost like a small branch off of the passion subsection, but having a life balanced by deep, hard work. Social vibrance, which we'll talk about at the very end, and hobbies is how I believe you live the happiest life. A lot of guys, however, will use these as copes. They'll be in a very shit financial situation with very little success and still be sort of regularly pursuing their hobbies. Like I said, if you've analyzed that you need to be in a really disciplined monk mode state for a little bit of time, do that. If not, however, and you trust that you're the kind of man who can determine and stick to a balance, incorporating hobbies into your life as well as, deep hard work, do it, because it 100% will make you a more exciting, happy human being. If you have no hobbies, how do you find them? Well, you begin by listing your passions and interests and sort of go from there. Just sort of create branches. And so, for example, you have a passion for, I don't know, music, get a guitar, something, start making music maybe, I don't know, just listen, be creative with it. What I'm not here to teach you how to get hobbies. I'm here, actually that's exactly why I'm here. I spoke about the importance of your environment in my tools for procrastination vid. There are many links between your physiology and your psychology. Wherever you work and sleep and go to the gym now are directly linked to your current identity. Since we're shifting this identity, you should shift your environment too. This new identity needs to have new environments that it can associate itself with. You may not be able to move out, but what you can do instead is alter your environment. If you live at home with your parents and you work from your bedroom like me, clean up the room and move around the furniture. This is honestly enough to feel like you're in an entirely new space. If you have any posters on your wall or things on your shelf, just start replacing them with reminders of your goals or books. See that? Wait, this is the first time I've ever done this. What would you tomorrow want you today to do? That was probably the most awful camera work that I've ever done in my life. I also can't speak, but I think if you went as far as to change gyms too, that would be like a fresh start for your fitness journey. Swiftly moving on to your long-term changes, remember, set plans for these. Everybody understands the importance of habits by now. Start by creating some sort of habit tracker. You want to start with 1 or 2 habits that you want to incorporate and progressively overload. Maybe it's just to wake up earlier and sleep earlier. Bang, that's already 2. Much like the addiction section, just don't obsess over numbers. When people make their first or even second habit tracker, they just start putting in like 6 different habits that they want to replace their 6 different addictions with. And then they obviously don't do very good for long and think that they're weak because the alpha males on the internet do it. It's because yes, you are weak, but same way you start the gym weak. You don't just go to the gym for the first time and chuck 100 kilos on the bar and try and bench it. You progressively overload upwards, and that's how you hit that milestone. You can't rush addictions to go, and you can't rush the creation of habits, because that's just not how the human brain works. You want to know what a successful habit tracker looks like? This. The final piece of advice that I'll give you here is the same as what I gave you for your addictions. Level up your discipline, because before any healthy habit becomes a habit, it first requires continuous repetition. The only way that you could possibly rely on future you to keep banging out the reps of this habit is by building your discipline now. How many friends does the current you have? A huge part of the successful man's life is to be surrounded by brilliant people, including a lovely woman. If you're not actively making small conversations with guys and girls in the gym, the future you isn't going to do it for you. As I said in my confidence subsection, the main way to build the courage to go over and approach other humans is by building your discipline. Throw some balls and go and approach other humans. The new you is going to be the kind of guy who does this and who is respected in the gym for being the hardworking, super nice, healthy looking motherfucker. There is a whole side to this that women love, which is spoken about in the same video that I've plugged about 9 times in this video already. That will pop up at the end of the video so that you can finish this one first. Start making friends now, because like I said, the future you won't. This, I believe, is one of the pillars of living a happy life. Having a vibrant social life will better your mental health and increase your chances of finding your wife. How vibrant is your life with this current identity? How often are you going out with friends, doing stupid shit and gaining life experiences? This will be an aspect of your new identity. A guy who is hardworking and disciplined when he needs to be, but has an exciting life that other people want to be a part of. It's cool to say that you don't need friends or even women in your life, but anybody that I hear say that immediately make me think that they're either 12 years old or chronically on TikTok. Women don't want to be a part of a boring man's life, especially if you're the provider, because then she wouldn't have a job, she'd just be bored. So start pursuing a more exciting life and become the man that other people want to be around. To finish this guide off, I want to speak about purpose. When it comes to living the happiest and most fulfilling and most impactful life possible, you need yourself a purpose, a mission of some sort that keeps you going. A lot of you know this already, but I want to really stress the importance of this purpose being authentic. Of course, you can find a mission that has nothing to do with anything that you love and only maybe has materialistic rewards at the end of the road, but I'm telling you that pursuing anything other than what you actually authentically want to do will just eventually make you miserable, no matter how much money that you make or how many girls or cars that you have. I spent a long time last year pursuing a mission that I had no passion in because I just desired the money. It made me miserable. Obviously, building a business is difficult and obviously you need discipline to make money, but the kind of feeling that I felt when I had to sit down and work on this business that I had no passion for was just draining. And it made me miserable because I started to see how much time I was wasting, and I was just battling with myself like, why can't I just sit down and do this? Why can't I just start? Now, of course, I'm doing something that feels genuinely purposeful to me, and I'm honestly the happiest I've ever been. So with all of that being verbalized out of my mouth, probably a lot of better ways I could have said that, I want you to spend the next 7 days of your life forging this new identity of yours, whether that's finalizing the short-term changes within the week or setting plans for the long-term changes. The more of these you do and the more extreme you go, the more likely you are to just turn into a completely different man. If you've made it this far, consider subscribing to stick around as I grow. Click my guide on girls noticing you at the end, or I will forge the identity of a bunch of 12-year-olds to spam you with Patrick Bateman edits until your phone disintegrates. Bye.